Hello, everybody. Happy New Year, and welcome back to the Morehammer podcast, our first episode of 2025. And this week, we're going to be discussing some hobby that we've been getting up to over Christmas. We're going to look at the latest reveals from the festive period. We've got the Las Vegas Open, so we're going to make our predictions for that, which is coming this weekend or the next one. And we've got our New Year hobby resolutions, me and the guys. And as always, I am one of your hosts, Wargaming Luke. We're joined by Ben, bringing back the Benergy for 2025, 90% geek. And we have Simon of Valhalla. Oh, Si, what a name. I didn't even see that until we started off. That is awesome.
Yeah,
what is it, the new names, man?
It's cold up north, as they say.
AKA
north of the wall. It's still white here and it's freezing, so I thought it was an appropriate name.
That is pretty awesome.
Happy New Year, everybody. Merry Christmas.
That just linked in beautifully with the intro there. I hadn't even seen that he'd put it, so that was awesome. But yeah, welcome to the new year, guys, and back to the podcast. We're excited to get chatting some hobby again, because we've had a big break over Christmas, a good month away. But if you are new to joining us for the new year, then make sure, of course, you are subscribed to us here on the channel, or if you're listening to us on Spotify, following us there, because our listeners over there are building all the time as well. And make sure to give us a share around, guys, as well, and let everybody else know about the podcast, so you can come chat with us on a weekly or bi-weekly now basis. And in our Discord channel as well, link in the description below. Come join us for chatting between the shows and whatnot. Next episode, because this week's pretty busy catching up from the festive period, we're going to have our community questions back. So you guys can throw in your questions and topics for us to bring up on the next episode. We'll look forward to that too. But I think, guys, like I say, it's been a while, so I'm sure there's been a bit of hobbying people have been up to. Ben, I think you got your pictures into me first today, so I've got them here, so you can go first. You have the honours.
I'm in the top square as well, so yeah.
You are, actually, that's true.
Yeah, I got some awesome hobby time done in over the Christmas period. I got a game of Warhammer the Old World in against Michael, who's over on the Discord. He comes on, he's on as Funkadrom over on the Discord. Yep. I took my Warriors of Chaos to take on his Ulthuan High Elves, invaded Ulthuan, and I got thoroughly trounced. You can see here, this is the does anyone want a Marauder sandwich where the Marauders just got charged from every possible direction? He got the perfect kind of combo. He got the Curse of Rust as one of his spells, which worsens the save characteristic of a unit by -2, and then he had 2 bolt throwers. So he cast Curse of Rust on the Chaos Knights in the first turn, and then just unleashed a flurry of repeater bolt thrower bolts into the chosen Chaos Knights, and they were just gone. And yeah, he just kind of repeated this combo. I eventually went over and killed the bolt throwers and stuff, but I just couldn't then, with my heavy hitting cavalry taken out, I just lost some of the impetus that I needed. So yeah, it was a thorough victory to him, but that was a lot of good fun. And then
what was his general in the army? Who did he take?
Oh, who did he take? It was just a general on a horse. I think you can actually see him in he's the middle of the Dragon Princes down at the bottom there, kind of third one from the right, left. You can see the kind of a gilded fin.
I'm sure you're listening, Mike. If you are, he needs to be named now. I mean, I wish to know what his name is.
He's done the High Elves proud.
Well, it was the High Elf Wizard, I think, in particular, that kind of won the game for him, because he, like I said, he cast Curse of Rust, killed the Chosen Knights, then he kind of kept casting it on my Chaos Exalted Champion, and he lasted like 3-4 turns in combat with the Chaos Champion as well, just because he was kind of chipping away at the Chaos Champion with Curse of Rust, and the Chaos Champion was kind of bouncing off his regen save. It was a real kind of Clash of the Titans style combat.
That is what I love, the new old world for that, to be fair. So all that
definitely,
yeah, it's great.
So then other than that, I've gotten some painting done. I decided that the new year, new army, it was time to, new year, old army in this case, it was time to dig something out of my pile of unpainted stuff. I had the Gene Stealer Cult stuff left over from when Deathwatch Overkill came out, God knows how many years ago. Oh, nice.
Do you know, the Gene Stealer Cults in that box, in Deathwatch Overkill, are better than, I think, the Neophyte hybrids that you can get in the normal
Really?
Kit.
I think
there were some cracking sculpts in that box.
I'd agree with you definitely on that. Yeah. So you can see I've gone with kind of an orange jumpsuit, orange kind of pressure suit, and kind of creamy white spacesuit look on them. I was trying out kind of different color schemes. I wanted to do something that was a bit different to other stuff that I've painted for a while. And in particular, I was looking through different color schemes for the Genestealer cult. I came across, this is the Cult Hydraic, which apparently is like essentially like a group of space dockers or space truckers. They operate in kind of space docks and kind of distribution centers across the Imperium, essentially loading pure strains and hybrids and stuff onto cargo ships and like rogue trader vessels and stuff, and then shipping them out across the Imperium. And I thought that was a really cool kind of bit of background.
That is good.
But I also just liked the orange jumpsuits. Made me think of the orange pilot suits from the Rogue Squadron from Star Wars. Exactly.
Oh, yes,
and I was like, yeah, that's really cool. I kind of like the vibe on that. So yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment.
Nice.
And then because I was painting those up, I had I was looking for the pure strains that I had kicking around. I was like, well, I've got some Genestealers from the Space Hulk box. I never painted the Space Hulk box that my lovely wife got me for Christmas 10 plus years ago. So I thought now was the ideal time to paint the Genestealers from that for the Genestealer cult. And then I'd paint some of the Terminators as well, just because why not? And then I could maybe play some games of Space Hulk with them as well. And I actually had a look. I remember that when they released Space Hulk again, like 4th edition Space Hulk, they released rules in White Dwarf for using Genestealer Cult because it was around the time that Deathwatch Overkill had come out. So I found the rules for that. So I'm going to try I might even do a video of it, of like a couple of games of Space Hulk against the Genestealer Cult. And it'll be against the Cult Hydraic, like on a space dock type
I'd watch
thing.
that.
I think it'd be good fun. I'm looking forward to doing that.
That'd be good. That sounds like you got up to a good mix of stuff, Ben, to be fair, over Christmas, and it got a nice game or two in, so that's sounds awesome, dude. Is that it for you, Ben? I know that's it for your pictures that are on here, so...
For the minute, yeah.
Are you right if I go next? I've got my picks up here.
Go for it.
So let's start off with my painting and side of the hobby, and I guess as well. I think I've pretty much got all 2,000 points of my Skaven painted now. Because I did, if anybody wants to follow me on Blue Sky, etc. I know. So over on Blue Sky, I did post it at the end of last year, a picture of me, 4 main armies that I managed to get done last year. If anybody wants to follow me on there, I think I may have put them in the Discord as well. Check out there. I'll put the full thing of the Skaven.
Follow Luke and myself and Sai over on Blue Sky.
Yes, yeah. So I think I've more or less got 2,000 points done now, but I own now just over 2,000 anyway, so I've got a few more units to paint up, but over the Christmas period I was painting up a few of the last bits, so you got the Rattling Gun team here are pretty much there. I just want to put a bit of rust really on the weapons, and then they'll be squared away. But my favourite, and probably 2 of my favourite things I painted last year, just because of how awesome these models are, is the 2 Doom Wheels. So I got these 2 guys done.
Do you know what's really good about those pictures? And for anyone listening on Spotify, you're not going to be able to see this, but it looks as though you've taken them on like a black volcanic beach with like black sand in the background, and presumably it's a crinkled up duvet.
It is,
along those lines. But it actually looks like black sand, which is pretty cool.
Works quite well.
Well, clearly, if you want to make it a really kind of scenic shot, you can just like put a couple of books under the duvet cover, like a hill.
Yeah, that's true.
Stick a few bits of pot plant or something around.
And a cheeky Instagram filter, and away you go.
Yeah,
exactly. But no, I love the Doom Wheel models.
Yeah,
they're still some of my favourite minis in the hobby. To be fair, in the game. So they're some of the main ones I've done. All 60 clan rats, which I've got to say, when you've done like a whole like mass or swarm of models, and the new Skaven aren't easy to paint either. They're like quite a lot of different colours involved and a lot more detail than they used to be. So to get them all done, all 60 done, and finish it right at the end of the year, that was a nice feeling, I've got to say. So all of the clan rats done as well, and then cheeky little one on the end was the new Warplock engineer model as well, which is gorgeous. Sweet. New model. So yeah, that was the Skaven. That was my sort of, how do I put it, painting, and over Christmas I've started building a few new models that I bought this month, but we'll get into that maybe later with the New Year's resolutions. Games over Christmas, I had a couple, I think. I had a game of Sigmar, because we finished our mini campaign from White Dwarf, where they released the Molder port for Skaven versus Stormcast. I got absolutely battered in that mini campaign. But my friend Finn, shout out to Finn, he's been playing Stormcast since Sigmar started. And I just struggle so hard against his Stormcast. They just batter me every time. But the finale was quite close. It's basically this. You get to literally the last town of Moldaport, if you like, the edge of Moldaport, and you got the big screaming bell at the end that the Skaven own. And the Stormcast have to try and bring it down. So sadly for my Skaven, the Stormcast were triumphant. They brought down the bell tower at the end of it, but it was a really, considering it was just a White Dwarf mini thing, I actually thought really quite well done. And we really did enjoy the last mission, because it was a 2-parter, I think. So there was that, and then I played my first game ever with the Tyranids, because I managed to build those for 1,000 points.
How did you get on?
With the Tyranids?
Yeah.
That was a loss, but it was like 2 points in it, so it was a really good game.
That's the best. They're close as well, because it feels.
Yeah, that's the main one. I literally, we played all 5 rounds. I was winning literally right, because the way 40k works now is the player who goes second scores at the end of round 5 to make it even more tense. And at the beginning of round 5, I think I was up by 16 points or something. Mm-hmm. And end of round 5. It came down to literally one objective. I think his secondary objective was to clear me off a specific one or something. And it was one that I owned at the back. I had everything on it to try and stop him getting it. And it just came down to literally one combat at the end, which was awesome. My Biovore literally had to haul from the back like a fat gorilla to like take on all of his models. So he was playing Leagues of Votann. Should have pointed that out. So that was quite fun to play against the dwarves, space dwarves. I've never played against them before. But
against their arch enemies as well, the Tyranids.
No, I think that's why he thought he wanted to bring them really, and he hadn't played them in a while. And I was quite impressed by how I did, considering I hadn't played 40k for half a year, I think. I hadn't played in a while. Been playing Old World and Sigmar, so no, it was good to finally get the Tyranids out there, and I'll be working on those as the year goes on. But, Si, we'll move on to you, bud. What have you been up to over the Christmas period?
Well, you two are putting me to shame in terms of painting as well, unless I could say that I've painted everything in a lovely shade of gloss grey. I've not painted a lot. I've built lots of things. Built loads of skeletons for my Tomb Kings. I forgot how annoying they are. By like the first 20 hours, ruin that plastic kit. It's awful putting those skeletons together. So in the end, I ended up super gluing the bodies and the arms on, just to hold them in place, rather than stand there for each skeleton for 30 seconds while the plastic glue set, and then went over all the joints with plastic glue afterwards to, for it to wick in and bond them together. Yeah. So anyway, they're done. I've just got some archers to go now, and that'll be the full Tomb Kings box built. Only a year late, but
most of mine are still sat on their sprue, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, I built some Star Wars Shatterpoint stuff. So I got the this is some rescue pack, which is Leia, and then Luke and Han in Stormtrooper costumes. The Snowtrooper pack with Veers, and then the Bounty Hunter pack as well with Boba Fett, Bosk, Dengar, and IG-88. So I'm looking forward to getting those painted. I've undercoated them since I took these pictures, but I just didn't have any pictures of them undercoated, so they're ready to paint. And then the week before Christmas, when I was off, when I intended to smash, that's a really nice sculpt, by the way.
That Bosk miniature is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it's cool. Brilliant. I love it. I can't wait. That's the one I'm painting first. I can't wait to get it painted.
Yeah, definitely.
And with contrast and speed paints now, I've already got an idea in my head what I want to do. So I'll have Empire Strikes Back on paused in the background, and I'll be painting it. And then the week that I was off before Christmas, I intended to do loads of hobby. But my gallbladder decided on a career change and decided it wanted to be a frag grenade. So that put me back a week.
A blight grenade.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's on the list. But yeah, I've built a lot. I just haven't managed to paint a lot, unfortunately. And then I've been playing a little bit Space Marine 2 as well. While I was down and out, I thought take advantage and play a bit of Space Marine 2.
How far are you through it?
Through the campaign? Not very far. I've just been having a go on multiplayer. I think I'm on the 3rd mission. So the one after you fire the big planetary gun.
Yes, yeah.
I'm going to show... So
sorry, go on, Ben.
I'm going to show my ignorance here a little bit because one of the things that we got just before Christmas was a PlayStation, and it's on my therefore my to get list is Space Marine 2.
Right.
The multiplayer. Can you only play then against people who've got the same console as you, or can you?
No, it's cross-play. You can play against Xbox players as well.
So in theory, the three of us, once I get it, could play a multiplayer.
We could stream it.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Would anyone let us know in the comments if you'd like to see that?
Even better than that, we can do operations. So we can play
operations would be wicked.
Those co-op missions.
Yeah, it's like co-op missions.
Fail horrifically.
They're about an hour long. Sorry, about an hour long, maybe. About 45 minutes to an hour for an operation, is it?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if either of you two have played Destiny. It's like a strike on Destiny.
No, sorry.
Not in a while, but yeah, I've done it.
Yeah.
Much like my miniature collecting, a lot of my computer gaming is kind of like, hey, N64, this is awesome.
There's nothing wrong with retro gaming. There's an N64 behind me on the floor next to a GameCube and a SNES and a Mega Drive.
Yeah, my GameCube's
That's my normal level of gaming. But yeah, we got a PlayStation because my.
But yeah, we should be able to play operations together. That should be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
that would be cool. Okay.
Let us know in the comments, guys. We'll get that done.
I need to play the tutorial again, I think, and just relearn all the controls and get my timing right for, the finishing moves and stuff like that.
I thought it would be a lot harder actually, but I thought it was. I got to grips with it quicker than I thought I would because I don't play many video games anymore really. So my like you. Reaction's not great anymore, but I thought it was pretty good actually.
Well, once I get used to it, I'm all right. Like I've been playing a bit of off topic a little bit, but playing the latest Call of Duty, and I was getting my backside and into middle, left, right, and center. But once I got into the swing of things and muscle memory kicked in again, started doing all right. So it'll be the same with Space Marine 2. I'm sure I'll get back to it. Yeah. But yeah, hobby wise, the only other thing I've been doing is something that'll tie into my New Year's resolutions thing. So I'll talk about that a bit later on. Ben, it involves one of Ben's favorite games, so it's cool.
Cool, yeah,
awesome.
I nearly bought Man of War on eBay, but I resisted.
I'll just salt that away for the next how much that we play, just to see if I can.
That's true. Yeah, fair enough. Well, maybe we'll have to save that one. But yeah. Anyway, I suppose Ben, what is it time for?
And now the news.
First one of 2025, loving that. So we've got a few minis to catch up on since the last episode.
The big one,
and then
and the big one,
and I'm leaving that one till last because that's very exciting. So first up, we a few Heresy fans out there. We have a couple of new minis we haven't discussed since the last episode. So we saw the Legion Overseer. For
the good guy version.
Good guys, yeah, I suppose you could say. But we now have the Traitor Legion version.
I could have sworn in the Loyalist one, there was something that said he's not as nice, which it does say in the Loyalist one. But I'm sure it said something about a whip, and I said, didn't I? The Traitor one's going to have a whip, and he'll be going whoosh, and he has got a whip. I'm sure I read it somewhere, unless I just guessed, but I could have sworn I read something about a whip.
So this guy is based on the artwork for kind of the Overseer in one of the Horus Heresy books.
Right.
And literally, the whip, the studded armor, the helm, all of that is taken almost exactly. They've just sculpted the artwork on this. So
both of the head
maybe that's where you got it from.
Maybe I just subconsciously imagined it then. Yeah, I love that helmet though, that demonic style mask.
I mean, that's
cool.
Right from a metal album covering it. That is that helmet. And then,
if you were shown this model and told it was a Chaos Space Marine, you'd think, yeah, that's a Chaos Space Marine. You wouldn't think necessarily that it might at any point have been a Loyalist.
And the unhelmeted really version as well, the detail and whoever's painted that as well is awesome looking headpiece as well. But yeah, that's it for the Traitor guy. We shan't hang around on him too much. We've also had for Heresy Loyalist Herald. God, the Loyalist Herald Consul is a very tongue twister. That is.
This was kind of like your Heresy Thursday, wasn't it?
Yeah, Heresy Standard Bearer, effectively. I think.
Basically.
For your faction. Yeah, for each faction.
Now this is nice, but with the Mark III Command Squad, I don't know how necessary it is really, given that it's a 4-year-old miniature and it's going to be a little bit pricey. Because you can basically build pretty much most of this out of the plastic kit.
So you got like your different sub-factions there as well, legions.
Yeah,
it's a nice bionic leg, I must admit.
He is nice, but I don't know. I would have expected perhaps a bit fancier.
Yeah, I never like the tiny puny little banner things either. It looks a bit meh. But I can see how, like, obviously you can customize it to your own legion and whatnot, like they've done there, and add more to it, I suppose, if you wanted to. But I suppose that kind of defeats the idea of getting a new model.
There'll be a traitor version next week, which will look like, hopefully, loads better. Like, hopefully the traitor version has, like, I don't know, big spiky Eye of Horus.
That'd be cool.
Or something.
Giant skull on it, or somebody's splayed, like a splayed skeleton across it or something.
Something like that, yeah. Something that's, properly evil.
That would be cool. So next up, we're going to the old world, and I think this is the only one since we last looked. The Wormslayer of Bretonia, who is named as well. What's it? Sir Cecil Gaston, Ben.
That's right. No one slays like Gaston. No one plays like Gaston. Nobody on the tabletop plays like Gaston.
Lovely rendition. So Monster
and we didn't
Slayer,
rehearse
basically.
that beforehand either.
No. You never have to rehearse with Ben. You just cue the songs.
And he's from the Arcane Journal, so he's one of the special characters that featured in the Arcane Journal. Which is nice to see that they've gone back and released a miniature for him, because I was worried that they were, like with some of them, they weren't going to release models for them. But I think what this tells us is any special character who is featured in an Arcane Journal then is going to get a model, which is really cool, actually, when you think about it.
That's nice, this miniature. I like it.
Looks like a medieval baron of Wales. With that crown on, representing the Welsh red dragon on his head. And then he's got a fun rule where if he slays a monstrous infantry, then he gets like causes terror for the rest of the game, which is pretty cool.
I mean, to be fair, you see a guy who like takes down like a dragon or something, you're like, that guy's one scary dude.
Exactly. Yeah. So cool little new mini.
Isn't it?
Say again, sorry.
It's all in the twirly mustache.
Yeah, that's where all of their power is held, right?
I shall taunt you a second time.
Yeah, love Monty Python. Moving on, though, we have some Necromunda as well. We've got
this is such a nice
Coiron, I guess.
Coiron, as I'm thinking.
Yeah. Ministorum delegation.
So this is from the House of Faith book. This is one of the kind of noble house delegations that you can take, and like House Catullus, for example, for the House of Blades. House Cawdor get the House Coiron, which essentially is a branch of the ecclesiarchy. This has got massive kind of redemptionist overtones here. So you've got two Fraterist militia who are kind of big, kind of cardinal-looking dudes with pointy hats, holding chain axes with flamethrowers coming out the top. And if you put the chain axes together, it looks like the sign of the Aquila. And then in the middle, you've got the kind of matriarch, essentially this is priestess of the ecclesiarchy in a hover wheelchair type throne, covered in kind of there's a cherubim with a boombox and stuff coming out the top corner. It's awesome. I love this model so much.
Really good models though. Again, Necromunda just knocking it out of the park.
And the two on the left and right as well make awesome conversions for a redemptionist gang as well.
We wouldn't even need to convert them. You can just use them. You can take this with a House Cawdor gang, and then they just... And I've got a House Cawdor gang, so I immediately grabbed my copy of the House of Faith and checked the rules on these. And but part of the rules are that you can essentially almost, if you pledge your allegiance to House Coiron, then members of your gang can be plucked to join the ranks of like the ecclesiarchy's armies, essentially, which is really cool. The main thing I thought when I looked at this was Sisters of Battle. That is an Inquisitor and a couple of preachers with Eviscerator, kind of Vindicator style Eviscerators. Yeah, that's it. This is absolutely perfect for a Sisters of Battle army. Imagine using the Matriarch as like an Inquisitor and then adding those two in as a couple of Zealots. That would be so cool.
That would be very
And then if you did it like Order of the White Rose with the Fleur de Lis, I forget what it's called, miniature as the centerpiece as well, you'd have one hell of a good looking army.
You'd have a stunning army, to be honest. Well, I mean, any of the there's loads of cool kind of special models for Sisters of Battle, like the ones on the kind of giant hovering floating pulpit with the double-headed flamer underneath and the huge double-headed eagle. They'd look equally cool alongside this. Just look at the detail. It is absolutely stunning. But my favorite is still the cherub with the boombox. because it's got a little kind of speaker coming over its shoulder, but the speaker it's like he's doing that scene from the movie where John Cusack stood outside the window holding the boombox over his head.
Yeah, they keep knocking it out of the park, don't they, with Necromunda?
They really do. I want to kind of rig this so that there's a little MP3 speaker underneath it so that the cherub can play Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up.
No, it's brilliant. I love how they're adding these little extra models just to give the extra added lore to like these gangs can hire these different kind of sub factions.
Yeah,
within Necromunda, I'm enjoying even just finding out the lore as they're releasing these, or revealing them. So I'm looking forward to whatever else they show us.
One of the interesting ones, I'm on a couple of the Necromunda groups, and one of the ones my friend Tom this week was looking at using the guild slave gang from the House of Chains. So the pit slaves and the giant kind of obese slave master and the chain master. He was looking at doing those just with a really cheap hive scum gang and essentially having it as like the guilder is really kind of the gang leader, and he's come down with his little kind of collection of hired scum down into the underhive to catch more slaves and stuff to take back and convert into pit fighters and stuff. I think it was a really cool idea, and it was really nice. People on the Necromunda group were kind of helping him work out the best kind of way in which to make it fit so that it was still legal but would fit within your average 1,000 points, and how would it work in like a campaign setting. It was really cool to see what people can do with all the little kind of Phillips and kind of narrative elements that they add to the Necromunda game.
For sure. No, awesome stuff. Really is. Look forward to seeing even more from Necromunda. But the final one I think that we've got up here, which was just awesome. This was the big reveal over Christmas.
Yeah.
And it was the new Fulgrim model. This
was
again.
the Christmas Day
Primarch.
reveal, wasn't it?
Indeed.
It was.
So, well, as I've said there, 6th Primarch to return to the 41st Millennium. We have a new Fulgrim model. This is awesome.
We do. I'm not sure whether this is nicer than the Forge World one. What do you guys think?
I'm trying to remember what the Forge World model looks like.
The Forge World one's more sort of to the side, and he wears more. He's got more segmented armor on the lower part of the serpent body, whereas this one, it's obviously more bare in terms of armor. I think it's brilliant though. Like you got the skin flayed open on the center of the body there with like the emblem of Slaanesh on the tissue underneath. It's like, that is the perfect depiction of Slaanesh, isn't it? Excess to the max, skin peeled back and pinned back with the Slaanesh wound emblem in there in the wound. It's got a little crabby pincer on the tail. I love the way it's coiled up. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Of all the Demon Primarchs they've brought out so far, I think that's the best one.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Strong words. I've got to say, I think the Angron one is slightly better. I like this one, but I really loved kind of the rage and the beefiness of what they put into the Angron.
Angron's really, really good, but it was exactly what I expected it to be, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why I was like, oh, yeah, that's amazing, but I knew it would be. Whereas this one, I wasn't quite sure they were going to do it, and then when I saw it, but apart from the faces, I think they could have had at least one pretty face.
There's been a lot of memes of the faces.
The Blue Steel one is by far the best meme for the faces.
Yeah, the Zoolander one as well.
That was amazing. I can't remember who shared that on our Discord, but if you ever want to jump onto our Discord just for a smile now and again, guys, we have a meme.
Come and join us, Meme
Hammer section on there.
Yeah,
so
very, very cool.
No, yeah, I agree. So it's definitely up there for me.
I must admit, I do like Magnus as well. I think Magnus is pretty cool.
Yeah, Magnus is awesome. To be fair, I agree with Ben though. I do love Angron. I always remember when that model came out. It does add a bit of tinge to it that my mate's doing a World Eaters army for 40k as well, and he had Angron first time it was fully painted. I'd seen it. He's painted it over Christmas, and he was playing on the table next to me, and he showed us Angron, and that model is very, very tasty.
The Forge World one is just epic as well.
The wings on the Forge World one, I just look, they're more they look thinner and more swept back.
Yes, that's right.
Less kind of Tyranid-esque, which is perhaps
I'd have this one as well because the Forge World one scares me. The fact that I'd never want to use it in a game because I can just imagine reaching for some dice and just catching one of them wings. And I know resin's a lot better than it is these days. And you always see people complaining, going, it's Forge World resin, so I'm not touching it. But it's miles better than it used to be. It's easy to work with now. I think it is. Anyway, I've got to do is clean it properly, and you're done.
I'd feel more comfortable transporting this one than I think I would a resin one. A resin one would have to travel, wrapped in bubble wrap and cradled in some kind of, soft, cushy container. This one, you could just chuck it in the bag, in a bag, to be honest. It would probably survive relatively well.
This one looks menacing. I really do like it.
It is. It's a very cool model.
It's going to be one of them come at me bro poses for 2025. I think that should be a section for next year's Morehammer Awards. We'll have to have a section for come at me bro winner of the year 2025. But so that was the big reveal over Christmas. Let us know what you think of the new Fulgrim models, and what's your favourite Primarch model out of the new ones, I suppose, for the in plastic for current 40k anyway.
Oh, if we're talking favourite plastic Primarch, it's the Lion.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I'd go with that.
Of all the 6 of them, I think the best sculpt is the Lion.
Lion, I think Lion won their miniature of the year.
I think it
the year it came out, didn't he? Yeah. Was it last year? Not last year, year before last year now? I think
that's the far gone past.
It was last year. It was early last year, along with the Inner Circle companions, wasn't it?
I think it came out just before that, though, because it won miniature of the year, I think, the year
before.
I think because it was right at the end of the Arcs of Omen series, wasn't it? On book 5, the Lion. And it came out then. So it was like December.
That model is gorgeous, though.
January time, I think it was.
Yeah. But yes, anyway, moving on, I suppose, from the reveals, we are going to do our predictions, and I look forward to next weekend for the Las Vegas Open 2025. This is always the big first reveal show of the year, the big first show of the year over in the US. And they did release a little article
for this year.
Yeah, it is.
So I think it's one of the important things to note on this one is they've shown the video and the blacked out image with the different colours showing the silhouettes. It says that we'll be seeing some of those miniatures at LVO, not all of them. It didn't say that at first, but right at the bottom it says you'll find some of these miniatures revealed at LVO. It's like the green one there. A lot of for anyone who's listening on Spotify, one of the silhouettes looks like some sort of lizardy, I don't know, monstrous creature or something like that. And everyone's speculating Necromunda.
It would explain why the red one isn't on, because if you scroll back up, Luke, the game systems they've said they're going to reveal from are 40k, Age of Sigmar, the Old World, Necromunda, and then Black Library. So obviously the Black Library isn't going to be one of those silhouettes, unless it's the Black Library miniature for this year. But
very possibly, but then it does look like something for Heresy, doesn't it? Like some sort of automata.
It does, exactly it. And one of these silhouettes is very, very clearly a Thanatar from the Mechanicus range, which doesn't currently exist in plastic, but they are slowly turning all of the Horus Heresy range to plastic. So that would explain now why they've added the word some. Albeit they might just go, hey, we know we said we weren't going to reveal anything, but hey, here's something for Heresy as well. Since we haven't put the silhouette up, here's the Thanatar! And we'll go, woo! It's the same model that was in resin, but it's in plastic now, so we're not really scared about dropping it.
I was going to say this has kind of made it a lot quicker of a predictions than it would usually be for us, because it's unusual for them to literally give us kind of a clue of everything that's coming for each thing they've said. Because they're going to reveal
last time they did the silhouettes and here's a look at what's coming in 2025. They didn't tie it to LVO, but with this, everyone's making the connection to LVO because it came on the same announcement. But I think that's just a look at some of the stuff that's coming at 2025, some of which we will see at LVO. I mean, I don't know. So who's going first then?
Oh, good point. I see what you mean.
So I disagree.
I understand. You're saying that these are... Because here are some of the stuff that's coming. Here are some of the miniatures that will be coming in 2025, and some of these might be part of what they reveal for those 4 game systems.
Well, if you take it as that's what's read in the article, I think we'll see a lot of these.
Makes a lot more sense
at LVO. I think we might even see 4 out of the 5 at LVO.
Yeah,
I just think the orange one we won't, because Heresy's not on there, like you're saying. It looks very Heresy to me.
Oh, the red one, you mean?
Red or orange, whatever you want to say it is.
The orange one's in the middle. It is like a bit like a Gap advert here, or the opening theme tunes to Archer.
I have a funny feeling, and this is just a prediction, so I might as well do mine.
Go for it, dude.
The middle one, the orange one, Beastmen, Brayherds, would you say?
Yeah, that's a square base it's on. That's very much Beastmen, I think.
I don't think that's what they're going to reveal at LVO for the Old World.
What's the next Old Worlds thing on the
High Elves?
According to the roadmap, it's supposed to be High Elves.
Ooh, interesting.
That being said, I would be a little disappointed if it was High Elves, only High Elves at the LVO reveal, because they are the next one after Empire, and Empire's out now. So it would be like, okay, well, you were going to reveal High Elves anyway, so it would almost feel like they were missing a trick by revealing the high elf stuff at the LVO.
Yeah,
so I kind of would like to see oh, by the way, Beastmen are going to be after high elves, and here's what's coming for Beastmen.
Yes, I mean they might for Old World then they might do high elves and show off quite a bit of stuff for them, and then just tease one of the Beastmen at the end, saying the next evil faction coming will be the Beastmen and show that miniature.
Yeah,
so high elves,
Beastmen should brace shaman.
Yeah, I'm going 50-50 between high elves and Beastmen. The green one I think is Necromunda, and I think that might have something to do with House Van Tsar.
Oh, you think Van Tsar? Okay.
Yeah, the one on the right, the dark blue one. At first glance, I thought it was possibly new Dragon Princes, but then somebody pointed out, look at the horse's neck; it was quite skeletal. Yeah. So when I watched the video and I saw the miniature rotating, it looks like it's pretty much Soulblight Gravelords, doesn't it?
It looks like Black Knights to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, that's
exactly the same. It definitely looks like a more skeletal horse, to be honest. So that wouldn't surprise me. So I think you're probably going to get, because I think Death was next after Destruction anyway.
Yeah, it was. Sigmar. It was a Death faction.
So we've had all the Destruction stuff.
And if we were talking about the roadmaps the other day that aren't roadmaps, they're just two vertical lists. Going down it was Destruction and then a new Death faction.
So Soulblight. I mean, if they do two though, like they did with the last one, because didn't we get Gloomspite and Ironjaws revealed last time?
We did actually, yeah.
So you may even get Soulblight, and I think we predicted end of last year Ossiarch Bone Reapers. So you might get a bit.
But LVO is usually a little bit smaller than, isn't it? And they save the big stuff for Adepticon or
possibly
reveal shows.
When's Adepticon again?
I don't know. I think it might just be Soulblight for.
Could be, yeah.
I'm leaning towards Soulblight because there was that leak of a Soulblight vampire on Nightmare that I've seen.
That's right.
And that would make sense if that's going to be. I mean, it would make sense if you release a character on cavalry, you release some cavalry to go with him. And the Black Knights that they have been using is the same Black Knight kit that they released for, I think 7th edition fantasy vampire counts. Not that it's a good kit, but it is a kit that's been around for a while, and it was a kit that was originally designed for the square base game. I can see them maybe using some of the technology they've got now to design a kit that works better for the kind of more open order formation of Age of Sigmar. Because if you're not worried about them having to rank up in the same way that you do on a square base game, you can be a bit more freeform in terms of kind of what they do. Have them with weird kind of sabers being waved in the air and bony bits flying in every direction.
I mean, it's certainly going to be Death anyway. I think for Sigmar that will get
so that's what I'll go with for Sigmar. Yeah. The red one, like Ben says, it's some sort of automata. Yeah. So that's not going to be LVO, I don't think. But for 2025, there's going to be new Mechanicum stuff coming, and then tanks as well. Loads of tanks from what we can gather going off the roadmap. And then moving on to the one on the left, which is quite clearly Emperor's Children. And I think that's Lucius. So does
I agree.
Lucius model.
Looks like he's got some high heels on when you watch the 360 partial review. So like the Noise Marine, the limited edition Noise Marine, is going to have platforms on, at least, which is very fitting for Emperor's Children. So
giant glam rock,
yeah, he's basically Paul Stanley. He's going to have like Paul Stanley Gene Simmons boots, isn't he?
That would be cool.
Any Kiss fans out there will know what I mean. I don't think we'll just see Lucius though. I think we'll see Lucius, and I think we'll see the Emperor's Children Legionnaires squad, because they've been doing the ecstatic epistles, haven't they? They've shown off the helmets, they've shown the weapons, and they've shown
Noise Marines time.
The shoulder pads, yeah. So we might not see the proper sonic blasting Marines, but I definitely think we'll see the Legionnaire.
So you definitely think we'll see Emperor's Children then, LVO?
Yeah, I don't think we'll just see the 1 minute,
because they're not obviously on the roadmap, are they?
No, that is true.
We haven't seen anything of Knights yet. Obviously, Eldar, we've probably got a little more to see, maybe. And I'd imagine we're getting both of them before Children, surely.
Yeah, but we've only seen the Eldar stuff. So you might be right.
Maybe not all of it, though. I think they said we've got a little more to see yet.
So codices that we haven't had for 40k yet. We haven't had either of the Knights codices, Chaos or Imperial Knights. Haven't had the new Votan Codex for this edition.
I mean, my thoughts as well would be, I'm playing devil's advocate here anyway. I think Emperor's Children, they've put it on there. It's the first one on there on the left. I wouldn't have thought they'd hype people up if they didn't wouldn't show it,
Well,
but I'm just playing
you say
devil's
that,
advocate
but on the
of, like,
Fulgrim article, it said he's going to need an army to lead. Let's see what the new year brings.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me think they'll show Emperor's Children. It might just be Lucius that they show off, and then they do the Knights.
Yeah.
Or it might be Emperor's Children and Knights. You could be right.
The only
but
reason I
definitely
say
think
it's just because they seem
if
to be
Lucius
like
is in there,
drip feeding it.
It'll either be him at the end, of the Knights, and he's there as a tease, or it'll be Lucius and the Emperor's Children. And then if
go on.
I was just saying for Black Library, I think it'll just be some sort of fancy miniature like that Battle Sister, but it'll be a fantasy one or a Age of Sigmar one, I think.
You think we're going to get a mini for Black Library?
Very possibly.
Ooh, we'll see.
In terms of, I think you may be right about Lucius and them not showing just Lucius, but I wonder if it might be like Lucius. Here is a clear vision of the Lucius model in all, kind of 360 spinny glory and so forth. And then one of those little tease videos where you get glimpses of the other models. And, you get kind of heavy rock music playing over the back of it. And we're all left then to look at potato cam, kind of, screen grabs and people talking at length on YouTube videos about what they saw. And, here's the freeze frame here, here's the freeze frame there.
I've just got a feeling they're going to keep...
Unless they keep it true Emperor's Children style and overload us with pleasuring shows with box.
Noise.
That's true.
Here's the box.
Here's everything.
So the first place you'll be able to buy Fulgrim and Lucius and the Emperor's Children is in this really expensive box like they did with the Lion.
Well, so I mean, in terms of, I suppose, the next two codices, the Guard have been put up on pre-order. The Guard box has gone up on pre-order. Then there's going to be all the Eldar stuff. So we've got a few months of releases for 40k, probably the first quarter worth of releases for 40k already. Still, kind of, we know what they're going to be. So if it were to be Emperor's Children that they did as the whole kind of big splash for 40k at the LVO, that isn't going to come until the second quarter or maybe even midsummer anyway. Which kind of makes sense. I mean, we're looking at 5 to 6 months away for them. So to do a tease on a big load of here's what's going to be coming for Emperor's Children, and there'll be more articles coming in the future.
Tell you what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to show off Emperor's Children and say, and there's these codexes as well. Here's Knights.
Yeah.
Here's a new Knight. Because
maybe just show the covers of the new codices that they're going to do.
Apparently Knights are only getting one Knight anyway, and that's it. I mean, what else can you release for Knights anyway? You can't really do much else.
You say that. I keep thinking, are they going to eventually release some ground troops for Knights? Are they going to give them squires or something?
Possibly
to represent kind of the foot troops to go grabbing objectives and stuff. I know Knights have the ability objectives controlled stuff for the armatures and stuff.
Yeah,
but we know that they have kind of like the sacristans type foot troops. It would be cool if you do a box of that. You could even have it as like a kill team box, and they can have rules for being the foot troops from a knightly house in kill team. That would be really cool.
Kill team's a great show. Yeah. So in terms of LVO predictions, that's where I'm at. But are we doing like wider 2025 predictions as well? Did you say?
We can do. I was thinking maybe.
I mean, we could for another one, but I have got one red herring
even more in depth another
time. There's two miniatures you missed in the reveals. So there was the Gene Stealer Biosigns Terminated.
Oh yes,
I nearly brought them up, but they're store anniversary models.
There's a vital detail on one of those miniatures that I think we missed. Oh well, we've not missed, but do you remember last time they did a miniature with a certain type of base, like a flat gravel base with a few little spots on it? It turned out being the base theme for Kill Team Into the Dark, the Gallo Dark, wasn't it?
It did.
That Space Hulk. Well, I'm giving it away now. That Gene Stealer with the Biosigns Terminated one. If you look at the base, it's different than any other basing scheme, like they did for Kill Team. Red herring, no, not red herring, but outlier choice for this year, new Space Hulk.
That would be very cool as well, especially given what I was talking about at the beginning of this video.
Yep. I think we're going to get a new Space Hulk.
That would be very, very... I would certainly be a very happy man if they did that.
Yeah, me too.
Here he is, the anniversary manager. He's lush.
Yeah, nice.
Definitely need him in my Gene Cult army. Munching on a
I was going to say, since you're doing that army, it'd be a cool one to pick up. So these are for store anniversary is what we're talking about here. So you got that, and then Sigmar Astana of Brighthall. So you got like a female Stormcast model.
Because
another night
there was mention of a Blood Angels Terminator captain that was supposed to be coming, and it's never materialized.
That would make a lot of sense if it reappeared. Cool. Well, and it would be a convenient time for them to release the upscaled version of the Assault Terminators.
Yeah,
that would work quite nicely.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that.
If we can go back to the reveals thing from the LVO, there's just a couple of things I wanted to add
No.
on that in particular. I don't think necessarily that the green option on there is Vansar. That to me screamed Millisor, the kind of big kind of centipede looking things.
Yeah, I'm just guessing with the Vansar thing.
I was wondering if maybe it's some kind of like Millisor Queen essentially, like it's like a big version, because one of the things that somebody I think may have been on the Discord commented was that it's on a round base, but we don't know what size that base is. I mean, we assume it's like a 32 mil base. It could be like a dreadnought size base, and it could be a giant kind of segmapede thing.
I think it's more like, do you know after Ash Waste when we got some of those kind of like desert beasts? We got like, I can't remember what the desert raider dudes are called, but
Ash Waste Snowmads.
They had like, we had a few of those kind of big bug models.
Dustbite Helamites.
Yeah.
The only other thing that, obviously, we're current theme, aren't we? It's all like the weird mutated Tyranids and stuff. Could it be like a weird version of a Morlock? What is it, Morlock or something like that?
Yeah, something like
it doesn't look more like that to me, but I mean, I'm just thinking along the lines of what we're getting.
It's not asymmetrical enough to be Malstrain, I don't think, because it's got a symmetrical 3-pronged kind of headpiece.
Look more kind of like desert bug-esque, I think.
But I think it'd be really cool if it was like a big bug monster that you can have like with your Ash Waste Nomads, or you can have like a hired gun type thing, or even just as a monster to unleash into your Underhive games. That would be really cool. And Black Library, I think the other thing we might get details of some upcoming books for this year, and I'm keeping my fingers
I think we'll get that too. Yeah.
But we might get another Old World book, because we've only had one Old World book released since Warhammer the Old World released, and at the very least one a year. I'd hope for more than that, guys, from Black Library.
Well, that's what made me think the Black Library, if they show off a special Black Library miniature, would be Old World, because we've not had many Old World novels, and surely there's some due now. Well, and they're probably being worked on, aren't they?
They probably are, and I'd have hoped that we might have had some more by now. So that's kind of one thing that I'm hoping for, is we might get to see some more Old World novels. They did mention, but we haven't seen the cover for it yet, that the Robbie McNiven's doing a third Carcharodons novel. I don't know if you've read his first 2 Carcharodons novels. If you haven't, they are amazing.
No, I do need to read them.
Really, really well written.
I know of them, but yeah.
No, they are astounding in terms of the depth of the lore and kind of the background that he provides for the Carcharodons. And it was mentioned just in a little throwaway comment thing in one of the Warhammer community articles.
Which is the first one? Is it Red Tithe?
Red Tithe is the first. Outer Dark is the second. Red Tithe. You'll get me off of one in a minute. I would resist the urge to just go, here's all the lore on Carcharodons, because they are astounding. Red Tithe is the one where it's them versus the Night Lords on a penal world, and it's literally it's the Carcharodons go, right, it's time for the Red Tithe, which is they collect essentially living bodies. There's 2 tithes they conduct: the Red Tithe for flesh and the Grey Tithe for material from the depths Mechanicus. And the Red Tithe, they just turn up at certain worlds and take the population, or take a large portion of the population. And one of them is a prison world, where every 400-500 years they just turn up there and go, right, we're taking your prisoners. And the Night Lords happen to have had the same idea and turn up at the planet at the same time. So you've got Night Lords versus Carcharodons versus the prison population versus the Arbites in this hellish prison battle. The second one is they team up with these renegade Raven Guard out in the Ghoul Stars to fight against the Tyranids. And that's the Outer Dark one. But he's promised, it's been nearly like 6 or 7 years since Outer Dark was published. He's doing a third one. They did say at the end of last year that he was going to be doing a third. They would be releasing a third one.
Didn't they tell us what the title was going to be? Or did they
I don't know. I'll have a quick look in a minute. But yeah, that's something I'm hoping we might get to the title for, and maybe even the cover art for at this. That would be really cool.
That'd be cool. That'd be very cool.
We still got to find out what's happening with Heresy now as well.
That's true. What's the next going to happen with the books on that? Are they going to do the Scouring?
Reveal that.
I think it'll be the Scouring. We've said that before, haven't we? That's definitely my guess. There's going to be a new Scouring series.
I don't know if that's something they'd really reveal at LVO, but I'm sure it's due soon. So, some news on that. Wouldn't surprise me if we got some random Sigmar novel again as well, based on the Ravaged Coast. Because one of the things I'm doing over the next few months. The new Ravaged Coast Path to Glory narrative expansion book came out. So I got that literally this morning. So that's all like the next kind of narrative expansion for Sigmar and Vermin Doom and all that. So wouldn't surprise me if we got a book announced to go alongside that. But yeah, anything else, guys, we wanted to predict, kind of point out before we move on to our New Year's resolutions?
No, I don't think
nothing much really.
I think we'll have like a separate episode. Then maybe in the next episode, as well as reacting to LVO, we'll do our predictions for the rest of the year, sort of bigger, wider predictions. That'd be quite cool because we could have another half an hour on that easily. So I think that'd be worth doing.
Void Exile is the third Carcharodon book.
Ah, right.
Ah, there you go. Not Carcharodon's 3 then. I was
wrong. Well, Void Exile, that's equally an awesome title.
It is, yeah. Yes, so those are our predictions, guys, for LVO. In the next episode, it will. I think everything will have been revealed then. So we'll be able to react.
We were right.
Yeah, hopefully, we'll see. I feel like this one was a bit harder to predict because until Sai had just mentioned, I hadn't realised that they'd said that some of that might not be in there. So who knows? There could be
they've thrown a bit of a cheeky one there, haven't they?
Yeah. But to finish out the episode, the last section we're going to have this time out is going to be our New Year's resolutions. I thought it'd be something fun we could do this year because I think last year, our first episode, we started February. Was it March? March, maybe.
I think it was the beginning of March.
Yeah, so it'd be cool to do this year, end of the year, all being well. The 3 of us will sit down and see how close we came to doing our resolutions. So
we'll see we didn't do that at the end of last year.
Oh yeah, very true. So I did ask the guys beforehand. I don't know if they've managed to or not. I've picked out 3 for myself. I don't know how many you guys have got each. Have you managed to get scraped together?
Yeah,
3?
kind of 3,
roughly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I suppose maybe we go 1 each, and then just to keep it going like that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Since I've started out, I'll say my first one. So, I'll go bottom to top here. This is the one I was saying about beforehand. So one thing I've never done that I do want to do, and this is probably the hardest out of these 3 for me that I'm least likely to do. I want to create my own custom terrain table.
Oh, cool.
To be able to use for a campaign at some point in the year. Current plan, I'm thinking a Nurgle table would be really cool because that's something I've always wanted to do. I'm not sure if it's going to be like custom tiles and everything. It might have to be like Matt and I custom make the terrain itself to put on the table kind of thing. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment. Whether I get round to that one or not by the end of the year, we'll see. Maybe I get part of it done, I don't know, but it's definitely something I want to do because it might kind of tie into one of my other resolutions as well. So that's my first one on the list anyway. Si, do you want to go around that way this time? You go.
Yeah, can do. So my first one would be, so what I decided was I'm going to set some New Year's resolutions and then I'm going to have some goals. So I'm not bothered if I don't hit the goals because for a lot of people, when they set New Year's resolutions or they set a list that they're trying to achieve for the year, you end up putting pressure on yourself and you're working towards, listen, I must get that done rather than just painting something, enjoying it, moving on to the next thing. So my first New Year's resolution is to paint 1 mini a month minimum. So if that's all I do this year, there's 12 things at the end of the year to show off. Be it 1 miniature I'm counting as either a single miniature, a tank, a jet bike, a speeder, a Legion's Imperialis unit or something like that. So 1 a month minimum. And then at the end of the year, I'll have hit my goals. Or I've hit my resolutions, I should say. But my actual goals themselves, it's more than that. So the first one I'll say for my goals is to paint 1,000 points of Eldar and finish my Tomb King's army. So that's my first one.
Okay,
nice double one there. So I'd say that's almost worth it.
They're the 2 whip things on my desk. So that's my first one.
I'd say by the end of the year, even if you get one of those done, it deserves a point probably for that because that's that's a good double.
But my official first one is 1 miniature a month.
I think that's a
nice
nice
I'm calling it
goal.
mini a month.
That's a nice
what
goal. I like that one. Ben, your first one?
Yeah, in a similar vein to Si, then I obviously set myself New Year, New Army goal of doing Gene Cult. The last time I set myself a New Year, New Army goal, I think it was The Empire Army that I started painting last year and then stalled out middle of the summer. The year before that, it was the Sisters of Battle Army, where I got about half the army built and then painted one miniature, and the rest of it is all still sat on the painting tray waiting to be painted. So this year I've set myself a simpler goal, which is 1,000 points of Gene Cult.
Oh, that's
I've
good.
written a few lists. I want to have 1,000 points of Gene Cult painted by the end of the year.
Yeah, that's what I did for my Eldar. Just 1,000 points to start.
Well, that leads well into my second one, because I think I mentioned this at the end of the last year, so it's kind of a spoiler, but I wish to venture into Horus Heresy. It's the only game system for Warhammer that I still haven't played at all, and would like to own an army for. So I'm not sure on the points levels for Heresy, but I'm probably going to say 1,000 points for that as well, just as like a good target. Built, painted by the end of the year. Maybe say get at least a game in for it before the end of the year. At the moment, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to go with, but that's the goal. I'll be able to look into it when I come to it. I am actually tempted to tie it in though with my table and actually do Nurgle, because they have the really cool demon princes. The specific, I can't remember the Nurgle guy. He's like the big bloat, and he's got the claws like that. I can't remember his name. I'll find out in a minute. But yeah, I'd like to get a hold of him, because it's one of them things where he's one of those kind of old Forge World models that they've still kept on the website, and that would tie in pretty cool to a Heresy themed army. But yeah, that is my second pick. Whilst we look for the name of him, Sai.
Okay. Oh, Corvax Utterblight.
That's it, Corvax. I was going to say Corvax.
Blocked looking thing. He's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah. So I think him tied into like a Nurgle Heresy themed army, because then I can also use Nurgle for 40k and Sigmar as well, so it's a cool new army to do.
So you think in Death Guard and then like ally in demons and him?
Probably.
That's cool.
Yeah. Sai, your second goal or pick?
So my second one is not so much a hobby resolution as it is a gaming resolution.
Yeah.
And it's play more Blood Bowl, because I've not played. Well, I've played one game of the new version of the rules, so not the 2017 rules, the second season edition, and that was when it first came out. So I can't remember the rules, and I know it's been FAQ'd to death. I still think this year we might see a slightly new version of Blood Bowl, but they'll keep it as it is and just tweak the rules, get rid of some of the stupid stuff like President Nuffle and what have you. But yeah, play more Blood Bowl this year. That's what I want to do.
Hopefully,
plus I need some practice if I'm going to win with my norms.
Games. That'd be good.
We play the Little League game.
Yeah, I need some practice. So yeah, play more Blood Bowl is my second one. And play more games in general, actually.
Yeah, no, so that's definitely a good goal. Ben, your second?
So my second one is it's more kind of a playing games type one, and I started a plan when I first moved into this house a couple of years ago. Hey, now I've got the space for it. I'd love to get some of my friends around maybe once a month, once every couple of months, and run a proper Necromunda campaign. Like, with a Necromunda campaign done proper with, the gangs advance, and you have to get, go and mine and get creds and stuff.
Credits and stuff.
Do all the stuff that makes Necromunda, I think, really fun, of, having injuries for your gang and having to play games to rescue gangers who get captured and all of that kind of stuff.
So you're going to be the arbitrator?
Yeah, I'll be the arbitrator. We've got like 4 or 5 of us kind of around about the Reading area who are into Necromunda, and I've said we've utterly failed to kind of do a meeting up once a month thing. So let's just do like once every couple of months, set aside a day when we can get together, 4 or 5 of us, and play. Maybe each of us plays a game against a couple of the others. So we all get some games.
Do different gangs, do you think?
Well, that's it. So that's what we did. We've got, one of us has got a beautiful Escher gang. Another guy's got like a really cool Goliath gang. We did it. So at one point when we started out, we all had a different gang. We had no Orc. But I think all Orc was the only one we didn't have. Advansar, Goliath, Escher, and Delac, and my Cawdor. So we had 5 of the 6 major houses represented. And then afterwards,
if you don't go with squads.
Well, me? No, I've got the Cawdor gang. I've got my Cawdor gang painted. It's brilliant. I'll have to share some pictures of them. And I've got an Escher gang that I'm on my painting table as well.
Cawdor.
Yeah, rubbing around in the dirt. I love Cawdor. I love like the Redemptionists and all the flamey headdressing kind of type stuff for it. That being said, we have the games we've played when we have played games. Almost every time I've used my corridor, so maybe I might switch things up a bit and do something like maybe use my Gene Stealer cult for it, because you can use Gene Stealer cult in not just as mouse strain but as Gene Stealer cult.
To get the new priest lady.
I could get the new priest lady. I mean, I've got the regular bald dude that came in the Overkill set. I could get the new priest lady and have her with my corridor. Yeah. So that's mine is to actually play the Necromunda campaign that we have been talking about for the last couple of years.
It's funny you mentioned that one, Ben, because I came close as adding for one of mine to get a Necromunda campaign going, because I've not done one before. I've played Necromunda, but not done a long running campaign. Necromunda's one of the perfect ones for that. Maybe next year's goal, and maybe I might still end up doing it this year, but yeah, came close to doing that myself, so that's a good one. My last and third one, this is my big one, because I know that I'll end up doing a lot towards my armies anyway, but it's still a hard one for me to pull off, and that's I want to increase each army I currently own, bearing in mind, obviously, unlike probably you, Ben, and maybe you, Si, the number of armies I own is less than it used to be because I had a gap. But I want to increase each army I own by 1,000 point level to the next level, if you like. So my Tomb Kings, for example, I think they're about 1,300. So I want to bring them up to the 2,000 level and do that for each of my kind of armies I own. So that's currently Tomb Kings, Seraphon,
Tyranids,
Skaven, and Ultramarines.
Okay.
So for those, 5 I think that was, I want to go up to the next 1,000 point level by the end of the year, basically. Because one of my main goals for this year, I wanted to, rather than getting a ton of new armies like last year, I wanted to kind of build on the models and variety that I've got for each army I already own. So I thought that was probably quite a good one to do. So when I get round to each of them, I don't know. We'll see as the year goes on. But the nice thing about doing these is we can check in on stuff as we go throughout the year. So I thought it'd be quite fun. So yeah, that's my last one. Si, you got a last one?
Yeah, so my last one is I wanted to do some more painting videos. So I started thinking about it. And then I also had the idea of doing the mini a month thing as like a bare minimum, because I was talking to Simon from Rally Point and Games about, putting pressure on yourselves for lists and stuff like that. So that's what gave me the idea of that. And then it tied into this when I was thinking about doing more painting videos. I thought I'd do a vlog series of painting a certain thing. So my Dreadfleet box, which I said I wanted to get finished off, I've got the Black Kraken painted, which is the Chaos Dwarf submersible, and I've got the Shade Wraith painted. So that leaves 10 ships, plus the islands and the sea monsters. Yeah, so that's 11. And then the bases and an introduction would be 12. So I'm going to do a video series, one a month this year, starting this month, called Beat the Fleet. So I'm going to paint one Dreadfleet ship each month and just do like a paint-along video as I'm painting it. The first one will be like introduction and doing the bases and how to paint the watery bases. Yeah. Second one will be one of the ships, and about halfway through I'll do the islands and the auxiliaries. And then the last 2 ships will be the Bloody Reaver, which is the big Count Noctilus ship, and then the Heldenhammer will be last, which is Jaeger Roth ships. So yeah, that's my plan. So it's sort of outside my New Year goals, really, because it's extra work. But it's been something I've been wanting to do for ages. So yeah, Beat the Fleet. That'll be my video log series for this year.
Sweet.
Sounds good. We'll see how we get on with that. And then Ben, you're the last one. Last third one for you.
Yeah. So I mean, something that I've done. Every year almost except COVID is I've run some form of gaming event, like once a year at least. Sometimes there's been a couple of years where I've done 2. But like I've had a long-running gaming event for years, a 40k one called Silent War, which is all kind of Inquisition themed, and I've run a couple of Old World. I mean, before it was Old World, I ran 5th edition fantasy events, and I had plans for both of those events for last year, and then it just didn't happen. In fact, last year was the first year, I think, apart from COVID, that I didn't run an event at all. They just didn't happen. So my third resolution is one of those 2 is happening this year. Either I'm going to get my arse and write the rules pack for the next Silent War, or it's going to be I finally finish writing the rules pack for Return to Thorskinson's Island and go and do it'll either be Old World, or I'll just lean into it and still do it as a 5th edition event like I originally planned, and it'll be old school Warhammer Fantasy.
Nice.
Nice. Awesome. I think we've got a nice rounded kind of bunch of sort of resolutions there. We've covered quite a few different game systems as well, I think. So what we'll do as the year goes on, obviously with hobby updates and stuff, we'll see how we get on with it, and it'll be funny to kind of look back on it at the very end of the year, just see how close we even came.
Yeah.
We might even just scrap some of them entirely by the end of the year. It's just be interesting to see, to look back at it. But I think that's it then, guys, for this episode this week, really. We're going to get back to some fun games next week as well, but we knew we had a lot to cover in this episode, so we wanted to keep it clear for all of that sort of stuff. But one thing I would say is as well, get into our Discord and in the comments on this video and let us know your New Year's resolutions. One thing I wish I'd kind of done, to be honest, was week leading up to this is to ask your guys, so we could have said them for you on here as well. But
that would be cool.
Planning and festive period and whatnot, it's probably sleeping. Sorry, but get them in the comments, guys. We can even always let everybody know on the next episode what your guys' New Year's resolutions are, because I think next episode we'll probably, like I say, do predictions for the rest of the year anyway, and see what big things we think will be revealed. But yeah. But we'll end the episode there for this week, guys. Once again, Happy New Year to you all. I hope you all had a great festive break. And as always, make sure you subscribe to us here and following us on Spotify and jumping into that Discord to check us out there. I've been Wargaming Luke. You can follow me on Blue Sky along with the other guys. Sai, do you want to go? Where can people find you, and what are you sort of doing content-wise if you are? Aside from your new,
you can find me on my own channel, Hobby Waffle on YouTube. So I'll be doing a video next week on LVO reveals probably, and then also I'll be doing the first episode at some point this month of my Beat the Fleet Dread Fleet series, and I have my Space Crusade unboxing coming up this weekend as well. That should be going live. So there's that,
cool.
And then I'll be on Blue Sky. Still a little bit on X or whatever you want to call it, Twitter. And then Facebook and Instagram as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Ben?
Well, you can find me over on Blue Sky as well as 90% Geek. Likewise, you can find me on my channel as 90% Geek. And over there at the moment, if you go and check the latest video that is up on there, is my special from over Christmas. That was my race to Firestorm Games in Cardiff, painting Warcry warbands as we go. And what is the best way to get there? By plane, by car, or by train. So if you haven't come and checked it out, and a lot of people haven't come and checked it out yet. So if you haven't, please come and watch that video, because it was a lot of fun to do, and I'd really love it if more people saw it.
No, I back that. It's a great fun watch, and a lot of effort you could tell was put into that video, obviously. So definitely go and check it out, guys. We'll put links, as always, in the description for the guys' channels below, so you can go and check them out. That video, Ben, I'd never seen Firestorm Games before either.
It's cool, isn't it?
It's massive. It's awesome. You're gonna have to go down and check that out at some point. Very cool.
I've just remembered a New Year's resolution that I know I'm going to fail.
Go on.
What?
The New Year's resolution is not to spend a lot of money on high elves. I'm going to fail.
Oh yeah,
that's why I crossed it off my list. But I just glanced down and looked at my pad now where I'd written high elves, 1,250 points ? That's what I'd put. No, I crossed it out. That's because I know I'm going to fail. So
when the new Eldar come out, I'm really going to have to restrain myself.
High elves is happening.
The new Eldar stuff, I'm gonna have to restrain myself with that. All right.
Oh, I've already put the money aside for that.
What, Eldar?
Yeah.
Nice. But yes, to restrain ourselves from spending more money, we'll end the podcast now, because otherwise we're going to end up going out and buying things
to eBay.
Yeah, to eBay. How much? Right, guys. Until next time, as always, happy wargaming. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys.